Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about the Google Reach Planner tool, why Google really wants you to use this tool. That is, anything they really want you to do obviously is going to make them more money. This tool has been primarily set up to, if you are advertising or spending a lot of money on TV, if you were going to transition over to running YouTube ads, how you would see your impact on your investment making that switch over. That said, in reality here, people are also using it just to plan a YouTube campaign and see, for a given budget, how much reach they can reach, targeting a certain audience. And I'm going to talk about that in today's video too. But for the most part, the main theme of this video is that if you're here advertising on TV, well, TV can do wonders for a business as well, depending on what business you're in. YouTube is not TV. And the reason why you use YouTube over TV is because of the hyper-targeting options that are available to you. For niche businesses where you're selling to 0.1% of the population in terms of could possibly buy from you or less, YouTube ads is going to be where it's at, because otherwise there's going to be so much waste circulation that is advertising to people who could never buy. Given the cost per milli or cost per 1,000 people you get in front of on TV versus YouTube is going to be similar, you're going to be well better off with a YouTube ad campaign, given you can micro and hyper target to your heart's content with it, spending your money there. Or at least what I tell people at our firm all the time, start out with YouTube because it's so much more precise, it's laser precise. Make your money from that because that's the low-hanging fruit available to you. Then you can start doing your branding level advertising on TV, on billboards, and everything else. Branding is better than direct response marketing, where you're advertising and trying to get customers immediately to respond to your ads, because people that see you as a brand are going to pay more. They're going to be better customers. It's just very expensive to do that. And most brands are developed by the owner who figures out direct response advertising, makes it work to do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more of it, and eventually they get into spending, once you're spending $100,000 a month in ads, you can dump some money into brand advertising knowing it doesn't get a return right away, because that's the main thing, right? Brand advertising has a better ROI, but the return is not as immediate. So with that said, I'm going to talk about this tool, how to use it, how to get the most out of it, because there is some usefulness to it. And then with that, if you are going to run YouTube ads, where you want to start. I really want to give you that information as well, because most people, when they run YouTube ads, they're truly not getting the benefit out of it where the real benefit lies, which is the hyper-targeting level, the ability to use hyper-targeting to hyper-target your ads. You could target people who are watching a video on one of your competitors' channels, and where they're talking about how to use the XYZ product after you buy it. How much more targeted does it get than that? Or somebody who's looking how to fix an ulcer when you got a product that fixes an ulcer. Doesn't get any better than that. Particularly also because you're getting in front of real people that you know are watching. Even with a TV ad, you're not sure they're actually seeing your ads. They could be going to take a piss or make a sandwich, because the commercials are easy to ignore. Whereas on YouTube, naturally, yes, people can be away from their computer or device, but with a good hook in the first few seconds where they can't skip the ad, you're getting in front of real eyeballs. But the more important thing is you're going to be able to monetize the eyeballs you have at a much higher rate, because you're statistically getting in front of somebody who's more statistically likely to buy. And I'm going to talk about the main techniques we use to run YouTube ads to predictably get returns out of them. And for companies that are small companies as well as big companies alike, the formula that we're using, and with most of our clients that are agencies, whether you're big or small. So with that said though, getting into the tool itself, Google Reach Planner, this tool is going to let you know what kind of money you need to spend, run a successful YouTube ads campaign. Or that's the idea of it, right? How much do I need to spend on YouTube ads if I'm going to get into it? That's a common question people ask. The answer to that question is kind of stupid, because you could spend $10 million a month and Google will gladly take your money and find you some ads somewhere. That said, people that are using this tool, the idea behind it is like with TV, going back to that, you're advertising to people who like watching fishing channels because you have a fishing product. And you could find how much reach you're going to get in front of similar people watching fishing channels on YouTube, and what kind of budget you would need for that, given, there's a certain group of people doing that on YouTube, and you would be able to predictably tell how many people it would be and what the cost to get in front of them will be, given that the cost per 1,000 getting in front of those people is going to be different than what you're spending on that TV ad itself. And if you are going to get some usefulness out of it, it's that. But it gets even more useful than that using the tips I'm going to give you here in a minute. But that's the premise of it. And it's geared for larger companies mostly that have budgets that need to be approved beforehand. And the reason why I say that is because if you're a smaller, more nimble company, the smart thing to do is just to have a small budget that you can afford to lose for testing. And whether that be between $1,000 or $3,000 a month, which is what I universally tell people to start out with, you should invest that $3,000 a month, knowing that it's going to take you a few months at least to get it working to where it's profitable, because you got to do some split testing of what you're doing to get to where the meat is, because you're never going to be that good where it's just going to, you instantly find the perfect audience. I mean, sometimes we get lucky and that does happen. Just don't assume that's your default, because you want to be able to make it work no matter what. And the only way to do that is just to assume there is some 20% of what you're doing that you find does work, and then you narrow it down to that, and then now it's going to actually work. So, but with that said, you take the small budget, you know what your ROI you need to have is, you set up systems to track, whether that be people clicking through the ad and then buy through your website, or you advertise to, like, you know, you're a nationwide company, you advertise just one state, and then you see if the sales in that state rise quicker than the sales in the rest of the states you also sell to, which is called conversion lift testing. If you're a bigger company, you have to get budgets approved beforehand. You'll have a Q2 budget. You know, we have $8,000 for that budget. Use the Reach Planner to identify if you can spend that $8,000 in advance. Oh, it looks like we can. Boom. Or it says we need 16 grand. No, okay, now we're going to go to the budgetary department and get 16 grand approved. That was the main premise of this tool in actuality, why YouTube came up with it. Now, like I said though, it's stupid for the most part to use this tool unless you we're in that situation where you have to get budgets pre-approved, and along with that, you have to have reasons why you're going to ask for 16,000. Whereas with the tool, you can say, hey, look, this is what YouTube's recommended, and that's, you know, maybe good for that. But if you're a smaller company who don't have the layers of management like that, you're the owner, you just want to make money, start with that 1 to 3K a month, figure out, like I said, what your ROI needs to be, pick one of the two ways I gave you the track there, and then treat that starting ad spend like you're going to die if you cannot hit your number, and just do everything you can to split test and tweak and optimize that budget until you hit your number. Because once you hit your number, you should be jumping up and down for joy, because now you can start scaling that budget and start making more and more money from the base of what you laid out there. And that's a much better way to go than using Reach Planner and all that. If you are going to use Reach Planner, then I recommend you use the combined segments part of Google Ads to create a custom audience, and then use Google Reach Planner to figure out how many eyeballs you can get in front of for a certain amount of budget with that tool. And when I say combined segments, what that does is, with combined segments in Google Ads to run YouTube ads, it'll allow you to create a custom audience however you want. If you want to target somebody who likes fast food and likes fishing and also is planning to renovate their house and also has made a search for a back scratcher in the last 30 days and had to do all of those things in combination, otherwise you don't want to target them, through the combined segments, you can create a combined segment, and then with that, once you have that, you can actually go into Google Reach Planner and see how many people are on that list, and then how much it would cost to advertise to them on a monthly basis. That said, just by going into combined segments, you can see the total population size of that list, and that'll tell you, for the most part already, enough of what you need to know. That is there enough people in the list that you have to actually make a long-term campaign out of it? For the most part, what you're looking for, if you're starting out and you have that $3,000 a month budget, an audience that is at least 100,000, if not 1 million. And if you are over 5 million, you probably would do yourself a solid by figuring out how to narrow, add one more component to your audience that you're creating that makes it who you're getting in front of that much more likely to convert into a customer, and narrow your audience from 5 million to 1 million, and then just going after that with your starting budget, given the cost of the advertising and all that, on a 3K a month budget. And what you do also is you go to a data company like Axicom or another data company, and you take your customer list to them, assuming you have it. As long as you got at least 1,000 customers, better off having 10,000 customers or more, but at least 1,000, you can take your customer list to them and say, hey, tell me as much as you can possibly find out about these customers, in terms of their traits that they have, their hobbies, their interests, whatever. Once you get that data back, that you go into your combined segments, you create your combined segments around those things. Because ultimately what you'll find is like, if somebody likes fishing, they're 5 times as likely to be a customer than if they don't like fishing. Well, you take that plus, if they like back scratchers, they're 3 times more likely to be a customer if they like back scratchers. And then when you combine 4 things like that together, what you ultimately have is a list of people that if they have these 4 traits in conjunction, they're 100 times more likely to be a customer, because you multiply the statistical likelihoods with each one of these individual components that you're adding or requirements that you're adding. So instead of targeting 400 million people in the US, now you're targeting 4 million of the people most likely to be a customer through those 4 things. Got what I'm saying here? And if you don't have enough customer list, you can run a PMAX campaign. Unfortunately, Google got rid of the free data. Like if you used to be able to upload a customer list or just have them look at the people coming to your site and give you the traits of the different things that make these people unique. Now you actually have to run a PMAX campaign because they realized they were giving away too much for free. But with the PMAX campaign, after running that for a while, even if you had to run it at a loss to get the data, it would be worth it for a YouTube campaign, because you can go into your PMAX campaign after you run the campaign for a while with your conversion tracking, and in the insights of that PMAX campaign that they give you the traits and hobbies and all the things that make those people unique, so you can go and use that data in your combined segment, create your combined segment. Then once you have the combined segment, you can go in your reach planner and see what budget you need to really just saturate that audience, basically speaking. And so I just wanted to let you guys know, for the insiders who really know how to get results out of YouTube ads, that's where it is, if you will. If you're on TV, yes, it may be more expensive and it's less targeted. The authority level and how serious somebody takes your ad, because it's actually on TV, is much more serious than a YouTube ad. So to make up for that, you got to have better targeting on YouTube to really make it work, to go along with everything else. That said, on top of that though, usually knowing 4 things in conjunction like that, create a combined segment, therefore a custom audience to target on YouTube, that can a lot of times be all we need to make it work, but it's not the majority of the time. Majority of the time we still have to do that plus, or either that or target certain content on YouTube itself, whether that be a competitor's channel, whether that be videos of random people that have a YouTube, created a product review of our competitor's product, and then having our ad targeted to show up while people watch that video, given that if they're watching a review of that competitor's product, they're the perfect prospect to get our video ad in front of. Where the magic comes in is where you narrow it down to 4 million people, and then on top of that, they have to be watching a competitor's video. Then the statistical likelihood isn't 100 times more likely, but 10,000 times more likely to be a customer of yours, or thereof. Or you combine your custom audience that you created, and then you say to YouTube/Google, hey, I only want to get in front of these people that match all these traits, but also are looking for help with getting rid of an ulcer. And at that point in time, because there's a big difference between somebody, because with the combined segments, you can actually target people who've searched for how to fix an ulcer or related on Google search in the recent past using custom intent audiences. But if they're actively reading content or watching content on YouTube about how to fix an ulcer, they're way more likely to click through your ad because they're a captive audience at that point in time. So sometimes to make a campaign profitable enough to pay for our expenses and whatnot, we'll have people that will need to know that somebody's been looking for information on how to fix an ulcer, and actually actively on top of that watching a video how to fix an ulcer to push things over the edge. So depending on how profitable your product or service is, you may have to narrow down a little bit, or a little bit more, and could be just people who match certain traits, or that plus have researched your topic in the recent past, or that plus they're actively researching that exact topic on YouTube, or that plus income demographic targeting, knowing that people that unless they're in the top 10% of income demographic, they can't afford your product or service, and you're not going to target them, and that being an additional filter on your targeting. Which that one comes up a lot, given that there's no middle class in America, basically speaking, anymore. It's very common we have to narrow the YouTube ads down to a 10 or 20% top income demographic on top of everything else. So targeting is 50% of what makes up a successful YouTube campaign in and itself. You still need a really good video ad that has a good hook at the beginning. The basic formula that works every time. I've got a video about how to make a YouTube ad script that works every time. But do you have a problem with an ulcer? Here's a solution that's new and works every time, blah, 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 blah. That's your basic premise of what you do. And then you just target people looking for information how to fix an ulcer, like I was talking about before. And that's your bread and butter, if you will. So you gotta have a good video ad. What most people try to do to make YouTube ads work is they'll pick some random video on their YouTube channel that's not specifically set up to extract value out of people that are watching and that have certain traits. So you got, along with the targeting, you want to have a perfect video set up to target those exact people that you just set up to target. Then on top of that, you have to have a good landing page, right? That matches, that follows up that custom ad you made very, very well, so there's no disconnect, that you have tracking. Your tracking data when you get a sale or a lead that you have verified as qualified feeds data back into your YouTube campaign so that the algorithm that runs YouTube ads as well can start to filter out the traffic of what you do have that did not convert until you get to what does convert, and then you now have exceeded the ROI that you need to have as far as a minimum ROI on your campaign, and now you're successful. With all that said, I know I gave you a lot more information than you probably needed about Google Reach Planner, but if you are going to use Google Reach Planner, knowing that basic framework of what the process is of going through and making a YouTube campaign successful to begin with, you can actually use the tool to your advantage to coming up with a plan to target a certain amount of people on YouTube with a certain amount of traits, with a certain amount of desires, whatever. Your plan to do that, is it feasible based upon there being enough people that on YouTube itself that you could target to do that? We can all come up with enough traits that would make somebody a home run prospect to get in front of. Where the trouble comes in a lot of times is you've narrowed your targeting list down so small that even if it does work, you're not going to get enough volume to make, to really change your business. It's not it might bring in an extra $1,000 worth of sales a year. Well, who cares, basically, right? So your goal is obviously to be able to run as big a campaign as you can while it's still being profitable. But if you run it too wide and target too many people that are not qualified, then you're not profitable as well. So it's like, how far do we have to narrow it down to hit our minimum target ROI? But not narrowing it too far, because now we're going to really cut off a lot of the total potential of our campaign itself. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you absolutely should, as the information I'm sharing with you on this channel comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing on all the online ad platforms to give you the exact skinny on what works and what doesn't work on online platforms nowadays. Given that most people that teach anything about ad strategy on YouTube, online, are all just getting information from somebody else and don't actually run any ads, this channel is the best information you're going to find on the web as a whole, not only just on YouTube, but on the web, on how to actually make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business. So you should subscribe, and you should subscribe right now already. You can also find my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. My blog has step-by-step instructions to execute certain strategies, which is our go-to strategies to guarantee results for our clients at our advertising firm. Whereas the channel here has high-level information, the blog has basically the opposite of that, where we got screenshots and step-by-step instructions with documentation to follow certain strategies that you can just basically copy and paste into your business and get good results for your business thereof. So you should check that out as well. If you like the channel, you're going to like the blog even more. Promise you that. Beyond that, if you're looking for somebody to just do the work for you on your ad campaigns, that knows how to get you those results, truly knows how to get those results, this is what we do for clients that are advertising agencies specifically, and we give our clients a trial at the beginning of our relationship in that there's no fee unless we can increase your profitability of your campaigns a certain minimum amount up front that we would tell you as a part of us working together. And if we can't lift your profitability of your ads a certain minimum amount that's in excess of what our fee is, we don't charge a fee at all. No other agency out there does anything like that today. So that should tell you about the quality of the information we're providing for you on this channel. But not only that, the service itself, we don't work with just any client because we got to know we can really do well with that client in order to take them on. But if you want to see if we can work together and get some projections from me personally, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to speak with you at least on the topic of potentially working together. If you're not looking to work with an ad agency like ours, you want to manage your own ads, that's cool. But if we worked in your niche market before, you do yourself a huge favor taking us up on the templates that we sell. If we worked in your niche market, you can take the exact winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work for your niche market, copy and paste them into your own ad account, and get the same results we're getting in a different parallel geographic market that you could easily get in yours without any of the time and money it took us to figure out how to get those same results in your niche market itself. We've worked in over 100 niche markets in this last 10 years of running this agency, so the chances are quite high we've already done all the hard work for you already, and can therefore get a template that you can copy paste results in your account upfront of which we can tell you the results we're getting before you ever purchase the templates from us. So if you're interested in any of those opportunities, also reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com. We got people using these templates, by the way, to start whole other businesses from scratch. If you want the highest chance possible of making a business work, start with one of our templates that are proven to work to sell a product in a market that our client isn't in, but could easily get into another geographic market, another country, or start selling leads. People want to buy cheap leads all the time, and you can get our template that will guaranteed produce cheap leads that you can then resell. We've had several people doing specifically just that. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. But I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.